I think I'm live. I'm looking for, is this microphone on? I think so. Um, Nobody's here yet. So, am I live on my channel?
I'm going to check.
Yes, I'm live on my channel.
You are.
Okie dokie. I'll just wait a couple minutes for some people to get on here. And, yeah. So anyway, I'm just going to jump into it a little bit today. So today is day 2 of a dress a day in July. And this dress that I'm going to share with you, I also found it on Amazon. Maybe you can find it somewhere else. It is a girl's dress all the way up to teen dress. I bought it in, I think, a size 14 for girls because I am short and it fits me well. So, of course, I wear a full slip underneath of it, like with all of my dresses. And I just really, really love this dress. This is another one of my house dresses that I just wear mainly just around the house. Is, if I'm running to town, I can put a pair of flip-flops on or sandals on with it. It comes below my knee. I don't know if y'all can see. It does come below my knee. I do have a um, slip underneath of it, and you can kind of see the lace of the slip that comes underneath of it. That doesn't bother me at all. So anyway, this is the dress, and I have it in a few different colors. It's very lightweight. I love the neckline of the dress. It comes up nice and high, and I love these little ruffle sleeves on it. I just feel like it gives it something, and of course it comes with a little tie. And I love that too. Christy, Sharon, y'all found me. Okay. So I will link this dress for you below. It is just another Amazon dress. It's cheap. And I know someone mentioned in the last live that you shouldn't buy cheap dresses. But I feel like if you're making the step over to dresses and say you have little ones, or your weight has just changed and fluctuated, there's a place and time for cheaper clothing. If you're going to be doing housework in it, like this is a house dress. My one yesterday, I mainly wear as a house dress too. So when I'm going outside to the farm to do yard work or farm chores, I don't wear this dress. I get changed into other clothes that are appropriate to do farm chores in, because I have skirts that are more stronger material, t-shirt material that can hold up and withstand gardening and chicken chores, and they're not going to get ripped and torn. I would not wear this dress out to do that. So the dresses that I'm showing you this month are my inside dresses or go to town dresses or like light work dresses. They're not things that I want to get ripped or torn doing heavy manual labor outside. So just trying to be transparent with you. Whew, I have a fly with that. So anyway, I'll link this one for you. Again, it's like girl size all the way up to like teen size, which is what I got, was like I think it was like a 14, and it fits me fine. But there's similar styles like this in regular women's sizes as well on Amazon. And like I said, there's a time and a place when you're transitioning over to more dresses or you're trying some different things in your wardrobe to not buy, $100 dress if you're not sure that you're going to commit to that style or whatever. Sometimes it takes a while to kind of feel out what's going to work for you around the house, or go into town or whatever. So anyway, I love this one. I have it in a few different colors, and it's really one of my favorite go-to dresses. I can put a sweater on or a little cardigan on with it, and I just really love it. It's very, very comfortable. So anyway, dresses and jeans doing my farm chores. Yeah, so we're gonna just jump into it. Yeah, I have more appropriate things for outside, and I think that was kind of me being lazy for many years. Was well, not necessarily. I don't want to say I was being lazy, but I was pregnant for for a long time, y'all, and then. So that on top of just trying to keep everything simple, and then I told you before I was like in this ultra like cover up everything, don't show a shape or anything, don't have any type of accent or I was just kind of in a very bad place, I think. And it was all self-induced. It wasn't anything anybody put on me. It was just myself that I kept on myself. But one thing is that living out here in the country, I thought my clothes just had to be so practical all of the time. And so I would only wear things that were really durable and practical all of the time. And then I was kind of caught up in the minimalism thing too. So I kind of like thought that was really great of myself, that I could just like have very little and just very practical things and wear them outside and wear them to church and just wear them like everywhere. I was like the ultimate minimalist. But sometimes I don't know. I just feel like when you put in a little more effort, it is more effort to get changed to go outside. Like my daughter just came in and she said, I want to go roll around and roll down the hill, but I got to change my dress. And I was like, yeah, you have to change your dress because that is a church dress and I don't want you ruining that. Now she wore it all day because we were out driving around and getting stuff done. So there's like town clothes and house clothes, and then there's like outside farm clothes because, you know, it's the way that it is. So last night we talked about encouraging others, right? We talked about Titus 2. We talked about the older women encouraging the younger women and how we all really work together to encourage each other as ladies. And tonight I wanted to talk to you about purity and just encouraging purity in the home. Also, when you go out into the world, just that we would be a reflection of purity as sisters in Christ. That's what we should represent. Not fleshly, lusting type things, but we should be beautiful. We should be feminine, but we should strive towards purity. And also at church, especially everywhere, but especially when we're at church and we're interacting with other brothers and sisters in Christ, we don't want to be operating in a fleshly way or presenting ourselves in a way that is worldly, secular, fleshly, sensual. We're trying to love one another. And the way that you love one another is that you honor and respect one another, and you bring honor to yourself and self-respect to yourself and to other women you're respecting by covering yourself up and keeping yourself dressed in a respectable way, as well as, of course, you're honoring the men, because we don't want to cause men to lust, and we don't want to cause jealousy or any kind of contention. You never know what someone else is going through in their marriage. The older men, the younger brothers, we don't want to ever cause that. So I just thought that was really an important thing to think on, is purity. And I know we don't hold that up and value that very much at all anymore in our secular culture that we're living in. But the Bible does speak a lot about purity, and a lot about fornication, a lot about looking at a woman and lusting after her and committing adultery, right? And she's responsible as well for that adultery. So we just have to be really careful as ladies that we're just holding the bar really high and bringing honor to our positions as sisters in Christ, and it was funny because today we were driving for a long time and I pulled over to the side of the road to take a couple pictures of the scenery. It was just beautiful. And so I pulled over the van and we were out in the country and I just had two of my little ones with me. And I got out and we were taking a couple pictures and this car went up and then it turned around and came back. And an Indian man got out and he was like a little bit older than me probably. And he was like, ma'am, are you okay? And I said, oh yeah, we're fine. We're just taking some pictures. It was so beautiful here. And he said, my conscience, he said, I saw a woman pull over on the side of the road and I saw that you had little children in the van. And he said, I just could not keep driving. I had to turn around and I had to come back and check on you to make sure you're okay. And I was like, thank you so much. No, yes, we're fine. We're totally fine, you know? But that's what we want, right? We want men to act like men, right? We want men in our world to be real men, to protect us, to be manly men, to do those types of things. I mean, he was probably busy driving somewhere. I mean, you know, it's like late afternoon, maybe he just got done work, you know, but he took the time to turn his car around and come back and check on me and my little kids. And that's what we want, right? That's chivalry, right? That is what everybody's screaming for, right? All of the young ladies are, where are all the men, right? They want to know, but if they're doing their part, we also have to play the part. We can't make this an unequal thing that we want them to be really masculine and really chivalrous and really respectable and honorable, but we just want to, you know, kind of go along to get along, and we just want to, you know, say dress in more of an androgynous way and just kind of be more mainstream and whatever, but he should still respect me and give me all the honor and all the dignity and all of that. And I'm just going to be more of a mainstream modern woman. Well, that doesn't, we have to come to the table too. If we're expecting the men to rise to a certain level, I just feel like we really, as ladies, have to bring it way up because it's dropped so far down. I mean, y'all, people are wearing pajamas in the grocery store. It's just, it's hard to honor and respect people that there's not even a certain level of respect for themselves, you know? So it's just time to, you know, to do those things, I think. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, but that's just what I experienced. So the verse that I'm going to share with you is 1 Timothy 5:2. The elder women as mothers, the younger as sisters, with all purity. And this verse in context is talking about how to entreat people. And the verse prior to that was talking about how to entreat the men and the young men in the church, how to approach them, how to come to them. And then it's talking about how to entreat and come to and view, right, and interact with the women, right? So it says the elder women as mothers. That's how they should be looking at us in the church, and just even in society. We have to look the part. You have to be respectable. And then the younger as sisters. So if you don't want lust, if you don't want to invoke thoughts that you don't want towards yourself, then you have to dress in a way that is honorable. You have to present yourself in a way that is honorable. And I know these are kind of basic things, and it says with all purity. So just thinking about that, how does that look? How do I invoke pure thoughts from people and not thoughts that I wouldn't want people to have? And you can't control people's thoughts, but you can control how you present yourself, right? So, and then I have one more verse, and then I'll jump into some of this some of your questions and everything. First Thessalonians, and there's so many verses, y'all, that you can study and look into, but First Thessalonians 4, 3 through 5. For this is the will of God, even your sanctification, that ye should abstain from fornication, that every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor. So that's what we're talking about, right? Sanctification and honor. How to, we're not talking about your soul here. We're talking about possessing your vessel, which is your body, right? Not in the lust of concupiscence, even as the Gentiles, which know not God. So we're not supposed to possess our vessels like the Gentiles do, right? That no man go beyond and defraud his brother in any matter, because that the Lord is the avenger of all such, as we also have forewarned you and testified. So we're not supposed to defraud one another. And if we just look around on social media, or you go out to the store, it's summertime right now, there's a lot of things that you could be defrauded by, right? So we just have to, as Christians, think about these things. And like I said, we did certain things, right? Our mothers and grandmothers, right? They put off the dresses, they put off the skirts, they put on the jeans and the pants, and all of the companies started to cater to that and make the jeans and the pants and all the things for women, right? And we did that for all of this period of time. But now, for such a time as this, right, on the way to church on Sunday, we drove past, it was a park, and there was a man, a full-grown man, wearing a dress, riding his bicycle in a dress. So for such a time as this, how would the Lord want us as Christian women, set apart, sanctified, right, pure, respectful, how he wants to present ourselves, right? So that's just the things that I've been thought the last few months. That's what's brought about a lot of changes, clothing, as well as in my daughter's clothing, because I want to be that honorable woman, not just in my home, but also when I go out into public. I want to do a good service to the role of a mother, of a Christian woman, of, I just want to represent well who I am, and just kind of raise that bar back up high again, because I think that we've dropped it and it's our own fault. So that's kind of it, I think, for that portion. Let me get into some of y'all's thoughts, because I know you have some. And okay, so Sharon wants to know, good day. Are you an Aussie? Just curious as to where in the Bible you get your modesty standards from. Well, I generally get my modesty standards from the distinction between male and female. So because the Lord created me a female and a woman, I feel like I should dress distinctively different than a man. And I think there's lots of examples of that in scripture that show the distinction between a man and a woman, both in what we were supposed to wear, and then forward into our roles and all of that type of thing. If you want like a very like outlined thing, I'm not going to really have that for you. I think that we can just kind of use some common sense, and we know certain areas of our body are more sexually attractive to men than other areas. Like our thighs are very attractive to men, right? So if I had a pair of jeans on, or pants on, you would be able to see the whole shape of my thighs, the shape of my legs. Some men are really into the hinder parts of us, and you will be able to see all of the shape of that. And that can be really, really, um, you know, that can cause a man to lust. That's just that could, and it can cause other sisters to be jealous. It just causes a lot of things, and I think it. With the whole pants thing, it was brought in for a purpose to blur the gender lines, which obviously they're totally blurred today. So when I think about modesty standards for biblically, I just think of just some basic distinctions in male and female. So the men today know that if they want to appear like a woman, they put on a dress, right? So that's some basics. That's just like woman 101. So if you want to be extremely feminine, you wear a dress, right? Or a skirt, right? That makes you look very, very distinctively different than a man. Not so much these days, but if we're trying to hold to something, it was something, if we want to try to bring that back. So that's kind of where I'm at with it, is just the distinction. And I feel like in all the first world kind of countries, when you're like Europe, North America, most of all of our countries, European countries, women wore dresses up until very recently in history. So to go back to dresses and skirts is just a natural thing for us culturally. Now, if I was from like a far, far different country and a different culture, they still have distinction in dress. Most countries and cultures, even very pagan cultures, will still have some type of dress distinction between the men and the women. So that would be like, I don't know what they do in every other culture, in every other place. I've heard stories, but you would wear what was appropriate um, for your gender in that. I even hate the word gender, but you would wear, if you were a man, you would wear what the men wore, and if you were a woman, you would wear what the women wore in that culture. But like I said, in most European and North and South America that I know of countries, the women wear dresses and skirts and still do mostly. So that's kind of where I get my standards from, if you want to say that. And I believe that it glorifies the Lord. I believe that it brings a honor to the Lord to see a distinction between the sexes. That's creation. Let's see, I'm going down. Amber says, do they come in a full length? I only wear long skirts and dresses due to now making bare the leg or uncovering the thigh. Okay, so, and there's going to be differences with all of us. Some people prefer longer skirts and dresses. This dress does not come in a full length, but I'm sure if you looked around, you could find something similar that did a similar style on the top, and it would be in full length. Another thing that my friend in Indiana does, and she looks so ladylike and lovely all the time, all the years that I've known her, she just wears leggings underneath. So if she had this dress on or a skirt on in the wintertime, she would just have, mainly it's like she wears, I think, like black or gray leggings underneath, and it looks really, really nice. You still have the whole feminine shape and of the skirt or the dress, but your legs are covered up. So, I mean, I know everybody has different things. I'm also going to be sharing, Christy, a lot of long dresses as well. I still have quite a few long dresses. I don't really prefer to wear the long dresses in the house for like doing housework and things like that. I do have a couple long skirts, but they're just jersey knit skirts that I, if I'm really like painting and cleaning and doing things like that in the house, or farm work, I have just maxi skirts for that for outside. But my long dresses I'm going to share with you are for church or for going out somewhere nice. These are just kind of my house dresses. What I'm just my day to day. And like I said, in the fall or winter, I will just put on leggings underneath of these and that will be fine. So, and a sweater on top, obviously. Let's see. Caitlin's Farmstead said, I totally agree. The first time I thought of this was when I read the book Created to Be His Helpmate by Debbie Pearl. Yeah, I read that book years ago, early into my marriage, and it really did change a lot of my thought process. Like I said, I was not raised in a Christian home, so I had to learn all of these things about being a Christian, still learning about being a Christian mom, wife, um, just a lady in the Lord. And so I really did devour some books. I would say take it with a grain of salt, some of that. But that is a good book if you are a really, really strong person. And I am definitely a really strong, I was a very independent personality. And I needed to be taught some things about submission. I would not say that is necessarily a great book if you are the opposite of that. If you are really like a worn out, beat down type of person and you don't feel good about yourself and you're just naturally very quiet and very suppressed, that book could, I don't want to say be harmful, but there's some good and there's some bad in that book. I would proceed with caution there. But I did learn quite a bit from that book early on. Let's see. It started with shortening the skirts and dresses, mid-length, knee-length, mini skirt. Then it moved to women wearing pants and shorts. Yes, absolutely. And you can see the same, Christy, with the hairstyles and all of that. And I wore long skirts and long dresses for many, many years. I would say probably the last 15 years. Prior to that, I wore knee length or below the knee length skirts and dresses. And the Bible isn't specific on saying you have to wear a skirt or a dress to your ankles, even though many of them look very beautiful. That's not my personal conviction, although I do respect people that have that conviction. So I definitely wouldn't uncover my thighs. I think that is a very plain thing, and that's taught in scripture, and then it's common sense as well. Men like thighs, and men like to see your backside. I mean, that's just what men's eyes go towards. So, and it's what women's eyes go towards too. I mean, we can't fool ourselves that, if you see a lady, and she has a nice pair of jeans on and she looks nice. I mean, we're human beings. We do look at each other. Dresses can be revealing. Yeah, I wouldn't wear revealing type dresses. That was greatest ever. Yeah, so the whole point would be modesty with femininity. That would be the point. In some countries, men wear robes that look like dresses. Well, what are the women wearing? That's what I would ask you, because Babu, because I would venture to say in all of my studies, and I studied a lot of different cultures, there's still a distinction there. And definitely biblical, like in Bible times, people like to say that, well, everybody wore a robe. Well, no, they didn't. You know, there was still distinction. To us, looking at it now, all of these years later, you're like, oh, well, they're all just dressed in robes. But if you lived back then and if you study it, there was very set distinctions in a man's apparel and in a woman's apparel. And that was just there's it wasn't androgynous. Yeah, Babu, yeah. I already, I didn't even get there, but I already knew what you're going to say. Yeah, I've heard that argument many, many times. That's not a accurate. That's not historically accurate. That argument. They weren't androgynous robes. There was still distinction between the men and the women. Yeah. So, and even in Christie's saying there was still distinction with that robes aren't dresses, right? And the kings and queens, and you see they have robes on, but then there's still distinction in that. The beautiful thing is the distinction, and what brings honor to the woman, what brings that gentleness and that all of those things to the table, and just puts that all onto display is the feminine part of the woman, and that is the meek and the gentle and the that nature of the woman, you know. So so that's where the distinction is, and opposite for the men. Shoe recommendations. Oh, I do have some shoes. Maybe we'll talk about shoes one of these times. I definitely want to do a segment maybe tomorrow night on setting up a wardrobe area, like having a certain area designated for your dresses and skirts and where you're going to keep them and have them, and just what I've done with it, what I've done with my little girls. I was going to just share some of that. And then maybe we will do some touch on shoes for a little bit, because that would be an interesting thing too, I think, to talk about, especially with purity in mind, and not being sensual. Again, there's a way to be feminine and to be beautiful, but then you're not being sensual with it. So let's see. Oh, my hubby's in here. Exodus 28:42, and thou shalt make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness. From the loins even unto the thighs they shall reach. They wore breeches under their robe. Yes, the men did wear breeches underneath their robes. And the men were also commanded at different times to gird up their loins. They had a different piece of fabric that the women did not have, that would help them in girding up their loins so they could go into battle and things like that as well. So, and then you do see again, the thighs are always covered. In the Old Testament, you always see that the thighs are covered. And obviously, I mean, come on, ladies, like you see, you know, a man with really good looking thighs, like it's still sensual. And of course, men, you know, it goes both ways. That's still a sensual part of the body. It's greatest ever says it's more dangerous to walk around and look like you have money or valuables than showing some skin where I am. I'm not sure what you're getting at there. I think you can look like you have money even if you have a really, hey, we're in Texas. You can look like you got a lot of money if you have a really nice designer pair of jeans on. And I just saw this today, and a really expensive pair of cowboy boots. And yeah, a really nice top. You can look like you got way more money than me in, you know, a 20 or 30 or whatever, $50 Amazon dress, just say. I don't know that, yeah, I don't know. I enjoy the interaction. greatest ever about being in, I understand. I think I understand. Tell me more if I'm off on this. So you're saying if you just had jeans and a pair of a pair of jeans. It's been a long day, y'all. I've been driving for 6 hours. If you had a pair of jeans and a t-shirt on, you would feel more capable. You would feel less vulnerable. You would feel like you could handle things better, or maybe you would be. Not perceived as being like having money. So a predator wouldn't hurt you, maybe. I don't know. I don't really try to put myself into really bad situations. When I go out in public, a lot of times, well, all the time, I have protection with me. So I don't really worry about and I have yoga shorts on underneath these dresses, y'all. I can handle business if we need to handle business a little bit. I'm a woman. I'm not as strong, but I do have protection with me at all times. And I do have, we're going to talk about undergarments at some point, but I do have undergarments on too. So I'm not vulnerable in that way. And I'm not, I don't feel like I'm walking around in like really, really expensive, elaborate clothing that would cause attention. I don't feel like that at all. I think just simple house dresses are just like a norm. I don't think that's like anything elaborate. But tell me more, greatest ever, if I'm on the wrong track. Sometimes it's hard to understand what somebody's saying. Have you hear and do? Have you looked at Temu? I was able to get a beautiful long maternity dress cheap and plan to get more. No, I have not looked at that website. I will have to check it out. That is awesome. Yeah, maternity is a whole nother thing. So thankfully, dresses are really, really trendy right now. There's just tons and tons of dresses, tons of modest dresses, lots of like prairie style dresses, and just beautiful dresses. And that was not the case. I mean, even 5, 10 years ago, that was really, really not the case. It was hard. You were really hard pressed to find anything that was remotely modest. But I don't know what the shift is and the changes, but there's definitely a huge change in the amount of women that are wearing dresses. And I noticed this 2 years ago. We went on vacation, and we went on a cruise, and there was a lot of people from all over the world on the cruise. I mean, it was extremely diverse. The cruise that we went on, there was just as many Asian people as there were Black people, as there were white people, as there were like all these different groups, different Indian people, just all different, all totally, totally different. And I loved it. We're from the Northeast, so we are from a very, very diverse area. And we don't have as much diversity where we're at here. So we were just like enjoying life, that we had all of these different people around us. That was just so cool. And the thing that I really noticed that really, really stood out to me was that the women were wearing dresses. Like a lot of women were wearing dresses. And this is going back 3, yeah, I said 2, but it's actually 3 years ago now. And I mean, even the trend then, the dresses were like, there was a lot of women wearing dresses, a lot, and modest dresses. Like it wasn't, and it was just like in day to day. I'm not saying like, oh, because it was dinner time and they had a dress on. No, like just casually, just all during the day. Just women had dresses on. It was awesome. And it was just really, really neat. That it was just a neat experience. I think that our American culture is so immodest that when you put us in with any other groups, you're like, oh wow, they're really modest and covered up, and like they're more traditional. Like the women wore dresses, like a lot of them, and like, what's wrong with us? What are we doing? Like we're just a mess over here. I don't know. It was just funny. That really um, struck me. Okay, Babu. Babu, didn't Paul say to not be obsessed with the outward appearance, like braiding of the hair, but to have a quiet, gentle spirit to be attractive? Yes, he did. Absolutely. A meek and quiet spirit is what we're supposed to have, Babu. Absolutely, 100%. And that we shouldn't be focused on the outward adorning. That should not be our main focus. And I think that that is a big issue today. Is that with most girls and women, it is all about the outward adorning, not in modesty, as Paul was talking about it, but just in how can I look really, really good? How can I look really sensual? How can I make myself look really, really, all of that, and that seeps through into the Christian world as well. So, what I'm talking about is not negating the inward, of course, but having the outward match up better with the inward, so that we do look set apart, and that we do look feminine. We don't just look androgynous, because that is the goal. That is what they're pushing, and they've achieved it. Caitlin's family farm says she threw that book more than once reading it in my first year of marriage. Yeah, I just was ready for it when I read that book. Created to be has helped me, and like I said, I don't, I do not push any of the Pearls stuff. I had a couple of their books early on, very very early on in marriage, and I do not I do not line up with them doctrinally, and I would not say that I recommend any of their stuff to anybody today for lots of different reasons. But we could email privately about that if you want to. Although I did learn a lot from that book. Like I said, I wrote my husband like a several page letter apologizing after I read that book, because I was just like, wow, I'm like wretched. I'm a horrible wife. I just didn't know a lot of things. I didn't mainly know much at all about being a Christian wife. Great. Okay, Christ laid down his life for the church, so that is how men are supposed to love their wives, suffering and giving all for them. Yes, absolutely, Babu. And we serve too. We serve our husbands and our children too. It doesn't just go one way, it goes both ways. A healthy marriage, a healthy relationship should be, we are serving each other, you know. Um, my husband's given verses, Colossians. Thank you, hubby. I'll read your verse, Colossians 3:18. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as it is fit in the Lord, right? As long as he's asking you to do something within the construct of the Bible, it is our duty to honor our husbands, right? We want them to honor us, so we honor them. Yes. Oh, Joy, we were talking about created to be as help me. And like I said, there's good and bad in that. I wouldn't somebody help me out if you know a better recommendation. I would not I would not paint that with a big brush and say all women should read that book. There was a time when I did think that early on in my marriage after I read it, and I thought it was so great for me. But then I shared it with a few people, and it doesn't always apply the same to everybody because everybody's in different situations and there's different personalities. And yeah, there's just, it's a lot. So Sharon says Isaiah 47:2. Thanks for all the scripture, y'all. Take the millstones and grind the meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover thy thigh, pass over the rivers. The leg goes to the ankle. Okay. Um, yeah, there's certain people that have that conviction. Um, and that is totally okay. We have a large room of grace to for each of us to have our own convictions. Like I said, my conviction has always been the thighs. I wore long skirts for many, many years because I love long skirts. I think they're beautiful. I still have a lot of long skirts and dresses, but for as far as my conviction lies, is that the thigh is to be covered. And I actually wear skirts mainly like they're below my knee. So I'm not on anybody that shows their knee, but like um, yeah. Okay. Okay. Elizabeth Gonzalez. Is this your first time? I don't remember your name being on here, Elizabeth. My girls have always worn leggings under their dresses, long ones for when they go out and shorter at home. Yes, and that's what I do with my little girl too. She has leggings that she wears, and then in the summertime she has shorts that she wears that are like to her knee, and that's just for modesty reasons. So yeah, her play skirts and stuff. Are to her knee, but then she has shorts on underneath. I've always been a big advocate of um, having little girls wear something underneath. I wear something underneath of my dresses because, if you're on the floor or you're crawling around or whatever, you're covered up. So, okay. Yeah. Babu saying women wear pants. Yes, women wear pants and men wear dresses now. Yes, Babu, you are correct on that one. Yeah, and what I'm encouraging women is to just take on the challenge of seeking the Lord and seeing what He would have you to wear it for such a time as this, for such a time as you're driving to church and you see men riding bicycles in dresses. Because the men's dresses are here, the men's feminine bathing suits are here, all of that stuff is here now. Mass confusion, total androgyny, total switch up of the genders, all of that is here. So as Christians, um, I just feel like for myself, it was just time to really raise the bar in being a feminine woman. Um, um, We might have to, hey, Babu, if you're just gonna be here just like blowing up the thread and arguing, we might have to remove you. I don't know if my husband can hear me or not, because we're not here to argue. We're here to encourage each other and keep the mood light and happy and have a good time. So, we're not here for an argument, that is for sure. Thank you, always loyal. I love this dress. I have it in a few different colors, and it's just one of my go-to house dresses. Definitely for Texas in the summertime, it is crazy hot, and it's just nice and comfortable, and I just love it. And it just, I feel like it looks nice, even if you have to run into town. Like today, I was driving all day. Um, okay. Yeah, Babu, you're saying Song of Solomon describes all the parts of a woman's body, so I don't think it's shameful or immodest. Well, I mean, you're talking about a lot of parts there, Babu, and I would think that common sense would teach you differently on that one. You're gonna attract, okay, greatest ever. You're gonna attract um, more attention in this area. I don't know where you live, greatest ever. If you're walking around dressed nice, carrying valuables, than walking around with your dog in a short skirt and crop top. Well, I'm not wearing a short skirt and I'm not wearing a crop top. So I guess I'm not carrying valuables other than, you know, my wallet and some protection, but we're in Tejas, so I'm not sure. Oh, let's go down. Anybody else got anything for me? Greatest ever says, I'm not super girly, but I like the difference between men and women and would like to show more feminine traits. Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. Greatest ever was that, all of my self-talk and everything was just like, oh, that's kind of a lot. Like, just give me a black t-shirt and a maxi skirt, like in navy or something, and I'm good. Like, I just don't. But what I have found is that I really do enjoy being feminine. I really, really had to push myself outside of the box that I had put myself into, and I just would tell myself, okay, that I would never ever buy that dress or wear that because that has a ruffle on it or that has a floral print on it or whatever. Like that is not my thing. But when I forced myself to do that and just try to really press into just trying to be as feminine as possible on purpose, I find that I really, really love it. And it's really a lot of fun. And I just never really had experienced that, like, so now I am experiencing that. And it is even funny that my husband, it was super duper low key and was always just like, you look fine. It doesn't matter. Like it just, it's fine. Everything's fine. It doesn't matter to him. But when I started a few months back getting some more feminine dresses that were really, really feminine, he perked up and he noticed and he was like, "Ooh, I like that fabric. Oh, that feels soft. Oh, you look nice." Or if I was cooking in the kitchen, he'd come up and put his hand around my waist and my notice and love it and my big notice and they responded to it. Just it really, really is something that has been lost in our culture, is just the very feminine role of the mother, and not in a casual, like how I had been doing it for many years was just like, a very casual way of just like, okay, I'm modest. I got, a jean skirt and a t-shirt, or I got a maxi skirt and a t-shirt on. Like, I'm good. I'm covered up. It's fine. I don't have to be, um, you know, ultra feminine. I don't have to be ultra girly. I can just be covered up and that's good enough. But what I'm finding in the past several months is that it impacts everybody around me. Um, the more I appear to be feminine, the more the interaction is different. And I know that to be true, right? Because vice versa, if my boys dress extremely masculine, my husband and my boys, they wear, jeans. My boys wear cowboy jeans. They wear boots. They wear spurs. They wear plaid shirts tucked in, buttoned up. They wear belts every day. They wear cowboy hats. And so my interaction with them, just think if you were somewhere and you were interacting with a cowboy, you have that as a woman, you have that level of respect there for, I mean, that man is capable. I mean, he's got spurs on, he's got jeans on and he can like jump up on that horse in a snap and do whatever. He can rope that cow down to the ground. Like when you're interacting with real men like that, like my boys are, and it's just the interaction is different. They can handle business. And then when you bring the feminine part to the table, they're just like, let me take care of it, mom. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about doing that. I can handle that for you. Um, it's just a really neat interaction. And I think it's just God's design. And it's not a list of anything, to follow. It's just, because of our culture and just because of the way things are, you just see these different ladies. Like I mentioned, Inspired by Nikki. If y'all haven't checked out her channel, she was really one of the big ones several months back, maybe even a year ago, that I started watching, and really just had me start to think about a lot of things that I really didn't know about, y'all. Like, I didn't know about wearing slips under dresses or certain undergarments underneath dresses, or I just didn't even know about all of that stuff. And her life is very different than my life. She has an older son, but she has girls and they're older. I still have little ones. I'm still cleaning up blocks off the floor. I'm still wiping up stuff off the floor. I live on a dirty farm with a lot of animals and stuff, and we run a business out of the house, and it's very busy. And at first I was like, that is just not my life. But then when I really just thought about it, I'm like, if I just put some effort into it, I would be interested to see if she looked so beautiful in her house and taking care of all of her things, that beauty caught my attention. And I thought, well, if it could catch my attention and I'm a woman, how much more would it catch my husband's attention? Is that if I'm seeing her tend to the ways of her house and look beautiful and very, very feminine, would that be a positive thing for my husband or my boys to experience? Is not just mom's in the house doing the things, but mom is making this whole thing look beautiful while she's doing it. She it's not out of drudgery. And I think that one big area, and maybe we'll touch on this on a future in a future time, but is that, when modesty becomes drudgery, when modesty becomes like just cover everything up and just that's all, you have to do is just stay covered up and just, put on a jean skirt and just stay, when it becomes this thing that you have to do, and it's not something that you enjoy. I think that watching Inspired by Nikki just opened my eyes to just this whole world of femininity that you could actually enjoy and you could learn about and you could really pursue. And it was just amazing and fascinating to me because I had never looked at it like that. I had only looked at it one way through modesty of like just cover up. But now I look at it as something really fun. And I think that how much more my daughter is going to, and has already, started to look at everything as fun, as being feminine is fun, like, oh,
What is it?
it's saying that one of our streams has lost connection. Are y'all still there? So, oh, it's clocking. Did it lose connection?
It's saying it's still good.
So good.
Let me check it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Anyway, it's just been a lot of fun, is my point. And if I can make being feminine fun, I think I'll have a big leg up on